Hold on, stop. Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
I'm actually amazed that we're all friends. Mike, I will reach across this table and the whole entire world will hear me bitch slap you. Not punch you, slap you.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
What is going on? Welcome to Take on the World with
Michael?
I go last.
No, you don't.
Michael.
Johnny.
Catherine.
It's
Oh,
not
shit, is
Catherine.
that how it is? You always go last?
Yes.
He's a people pleaser.
I try to be.
We have a treat for you tonight, folks. We've got the age-old mystery of the Zodiac Killer. It's going to be a long one, so
Strap in.
strap on.
Buckle up.
Grab the lube and some popcorn. You're in for the long haul. So, all right, I'm going to try and keep this. This is going to be long, like I said, but I'm going to try and keep this as focused as possible. This case is old. There has many avenues, alleyways, facets, whatever you want to call them. And you can get lost very quickly in this case.
Before I get accused of interrupting you,
Go ahead, get it out of your system.
I'm going to get it out of my system. Johnny has had a boner for this one for quite some time.
This is my jam, bro.
It's something he's passionate about.
I've been interested in this, Jesus Christ, probably over 20 years.
I've actually learned a lot because I never really knew much. Yeah, I knew the Zodiac Killer, blah, 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 blah. But I didn't really know.
Well, you watched that trash fucking documentary on the History Channel.
Yeah, that was horrible.
And there's been multiple ones on the History Channel.
It was like the Mystery of Oak Island. Like,
yeah,
they talked a lot of smack.
We found a coin.
They played a lot of spooky music and found nothing.
Did you watch the? Was it the one with the two detectives?
Yes.
Yeah. So they go. I'm not going to touch on the stuff that they do because there's a lot of pre and prior things that that might be able to be linked to the Zodiac, but nobody's for sure. So I'm not going to sit here and confuse everyone.
A couple of them are pretty conclusive.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of, like I said, I mean, I could probably make this like 4 episodes if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I approach this much different than you. You are like stacked with facts over there.
Yeah.
I approach it with questions because I didn't know much about it.
Yeah.
These are the questions I wanted answered when I looked into it.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the case for you and pretty much plagiarized everything I could find. Which is no easy task, by the way. My fucking hand was going to fall off. But there's no other way to do it. I mean, they're facts. This is what happened. So I'm going to present all this shit to you and all the murders that were confirmed Zodiac. I'm not going to touch on the ones that may or may not have been. And then I'm going to go to the suspects, and there was a lot of weird shit going on in between the two people that I think it is. So here we go. Okay, approximately 10:30 p.m., December 20th, 1968, 2 high school students, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, were gunned down while they sat in their car at a local lovers lane on Lake Herman Road in Solano County, California. Both victims died from the attack, and there were no suspects or theories as to why the killings were perpetrated. It was believed that the killer parked beside the couple, exited his car, then approached the young couple. He possibly ordered them out of the car. As Faraday exited the car, he was shot in the head, and Betty Lou Jensen fled and was shot 5 times in the back. She was found 28 feet from the car.
So is it the Lake Herman Road?
That's the first one,
Okay.
yeah, Lake Herman Road. Approximately 6 months later, just before midnight on July 4th, 1969, Darlene Farron and Michael MacLeod drove to Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo, minutes away from the Lake Herman Road. As they sat in their car, a second car pulled up next to them, but almost immediately drove off. And approximately 10 minutes later, the car came back and parked behind them, The killer exited the vehicle and approached the passenger side of the couple's car, armed with a flashlight and a 9mm handgun. He shined the light into their eyes and fired 5 shots, striking both victims. As the killer was leaving, he heard Migeot moaning in pain and came back and shot both Darlene and Michael 2 more times each. And then
That's Blue Rock Springs.
Yes.
Okay.
And then about an hour after that, the killer phoned the Vallejo Police Department to claim he was the one responsible for the murders of Darlene Farron and Michael Migeot, and also the Lake Herman Road murders. However, Michael Migeot survived the attack despite being shot in the face, neck, and chest. He was able to give a description of his attacker.
So now I saw interviews with him.
He's fucked up.
Yeah.
You'd almost like take him as a druggie, but I think he's got a lot of. He's all over the map. I don't think his story's like all over the place sometimes.
But now you told me some interesting things about that murder or attempted murder, and here's what I didn't know. I didn't know there were 3 surviving victims, certified surviving victims from Zodiac.
Yeah,
I thought he killed a shitload of people. I didn't know that there is only 7 total victims.
Right.
5 murders and 2 attempted murders that are absolutely 100% attributed to him.
Right.
So the Michael Migeot. Michael Migeot. You were telling me something interesting about that.
Yeah, he had like 3 sweatshirts on and 3 pairs of pants, or 2 sweatpants and jeans, and the detectives asked him like, "Why were you wearing so many clothes?" It was warm that night, and it wasn't cool. And he claims that he was a skinny guy. I didn't want to look skinny and scrawny, so I tried to bulk up, and I'm cold or whatever. It's just kind of another one. They
thought he might have had a part in it.
Well, yeah, it never came to anything because there was just no evidence to support that. But they did find it weird that he was wearing all those clothes. It's almost like, okay, well, were you trying to, beef yourself up so the bullets maybe you wouldn't get hurt by the bullets or something? I don't know. But I mean, 3 pairs of pants is going to stop a 9mm.
That's really odd.
Yeah, it is. Well,
you wouldn't think
there's many odd things. Like I said,
you wouldn't think that 3 pairs of pants would stop a 9mm. But did you know that the Mongolians wore silk to stop arrows?
No.
The arrows wouldn't penetrate the silk properly. It would slow them down enough that it wouldn't hit any vital organs.
Wow.
So I mean,
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I can see what they're questioning is like, because who the hell wears, multiple, and especially when it's warm outside.
I barely wear pants to begin with. I almost always wear shorts.
Shorts in the wintertime.
Yeah, but I'm not skinny, so.
So, anyways, Michael Migeot survived, and he was able to give a description of his attacker. He said he was about 5'9", 5'10", kind of stocky, and he had, I think it was slick, combed over brown hair. We'll touch on that later. But
so, in relation to these murders, when did the first ciphers come in?
Right here. On July 31st, 1969, the killer sent identical letters to the Vallejo Times-Herald, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the San Francisco Examiner, claiming responsibility for the Blue Rock Springs and Lake Herman Road murders. With each letter also included 1/3 of a 408 cipher cryptogram that he claimed, if decoded, would reveal his identity. So each letter that he sent to each I can't think of
newspaper.
Thank you.
Okay.
So each letter that the Zodiac sent,
periodical.
Each letter that the Zodiac sent to the newspaper included a part of the cipher of the cryptogram. So it was like 128 letters. So they all had to be pieced together from the 3 newspapers.
So it was 128 letters.
I think it was like 127. Whatever 408 divided by 3 is.
Yeah.
So like I said, it wasn't his full cryptogram. It was broken down between 3. And So he also demanded his cipher be printed on the front page of their papers, or else he would go on a killing spree. And
they printed him.
Hold on now. Vallejo Police Chief Jack Stilts didn't believe this was from the killer and requested he write another letter with more facts to prove it was him. So on August 4th, which would be 4 days later, 1969, another letter was sent to the San Francisco Examiner titled, "Dear Editor, this is the Zodiac speaking." And this was the first mention ever of the name Zodiac. The letter contained facts about the murders only the killer would have known, such as he shot David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen with a penlight taped to his gun to better sight the victims.
How would they know that, though?
Who?
How would the police know that from the forensic evidence?
They didn't. This was in his letter.
Well, someone could have said anything.
They could have, but this was confirmed from the...
Right, but... I'm sorry.
So,
the police say that he gave facts that nobody would know but the police. Well, how would the police know he used a pen light?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, he gave a fact, like, I shot him with a 9mm. David Faraday I think David Faraday was in the back seat of the car.
Okay.
So he shot him in the head or wherever the first bullets landed, and he jumped into the back seat of the car. And then he, I guess, continued firing. And I think most of the bullets that went through David Faraday wound up in...
Jump back to Lake Herman Road. What did he use to kill them?
I believe it was a 22.
22, yeah. Because they were Winchester X rounds.
Yeah.
And that's why they tie him to an earlier murder that
right.
They say may be him.
Right.
Not,
which is totally plausible. Because, again, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence there that could link him to that. But
see, they keep saying the modus operandi for all of these murders fit him. But
well, hang on. We'll get there.
No,
let me. These
are the questions I have because right. I'm not as versed as you.
But I want to break down what happened. This is the known Zodiac killings. These are the confirmed killings, without a doubt. We're not talking about the pre. We're not talking about the after.
No, you got to talk about all of
them. Well, you can.
They're in there.
So,
Katie.
So like I said, the police chief didn't believe that the first letter was him. It's like, I need more proof. So he provided that proof.
But I don't see how that's proof. He gave facts that they wouldn't know.
Well, they didn't release anything to the public. So only the police and the killer would have known the fact that
he used a pen light.
Darlene Fair, no, forget about the pen light. The Zodiac said he used.
I'm stuck on details, dude.
And yeah, but you're getting them backwards. So just hear me out here. The Zodiac said he used a pen light. The police never knew that. They never said that. How would they know? Like you said.
That's right.
But I know I wrote that in here, but again, my fucking research is probably faulty.
But no, it came up someplace.
So yeah, well, like I said, you can get lost very easy in this. So I was like a writing maniac. But the fact that Betty Lou Jensen was slumped over in the driver's seat with her head in a certain way. David Faraday was in the back seat. He used a 9mm. Just you wouldn't know that. So if you said that, you would believe that. Okay, this guy. How the fuck would you know that?
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. I mean, give me the details, bro.
Okay, so we're at the part where he sends the second letter to the San Francisco Examiner, titled "Dear Editor, this is the Zodiac speaking." It is commonly referred to this is the Zodiac speaking letter. And that's the first time he ever mentioned a name. He also said if they figured out this cipher, they will have me, quote unquote, they will have me. So on August 8th, about 4 days later, 1969, a couple of days after the Dear Editor letter / this is Zodiac speaking letter was received by the San Francisco Examiner, Donald and Betty Hardin of Salinas, California, cracked the 408 cipher. It took them just over 20 hours to figure it out. I think they were both teachers.
Yes.
And Detective Sergeant John Lynch of the Vallejo PD was left disappointed that the decoded cipher contained numerous spelling errors and failed to reveal the killer's identity as he had promised. At the end of the cipher were 18 unsolved characters that many believe is a second code that will reveal another hidden message. The 408 cipher was independently solved by the FBI, giving validity to Donald and Betty Hardin's work. Some people believe that the 408 cipher was referring to a short story, The Most Dangerous Game by Richard Connell, published January 19th, 1924. It was about a man named General Zaroff who lived on a ship trap island. He would capture shipwrecked sailors, then would hunt the sailors after equipping them with clothes.
There was also a movie.
A knife. I think it was 3 movies, actually. And food in a 3-hour head start. General Zaroff had become bored with hunting wild animals, stating it posed no challenge. So he started hunting humans instead. Zodiac's rambling cipher would mirror this.
So you want me to read it now, huh?
Yeah.
I need a break. I'm like fucking hot mouth over here.
Yeah, but you did such a good job researching.
Q. Katie.
This is where the actual part of it. This is where my participation comes in. This is the.
So I'm gonna. This guy, he's got to be a fucking deranged lunatic.
I mean, he is and he's not. Think about it though. There has to be a certain aspect of brilliance to this, because it takes a lot more.
Yeah.
To plan and go through what he went through. So yeah, he's a lunatic in the fact that he likes to kill people, but in the same sense, the man's not dumb.
No, I don't think. Yeah, he's just. Yeah, I'll touch on this too. From what I remember, was that the people who solved the cipher, they said they used some kind of method or something, but it was basically like, okay, if you were this kind of person, what would most likely be the first word you would use in a letter? And they said, I, because I want to talk about myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they kind of formulated this, the cracking of this cipher. It's like, okay, this first, whatever the first letter in that cipher was, would be I.
Right.
And then they were like, he probably wants to talk about himself, and then it was like, this would be the second most probable used word, and that's how they claim they cracked the code.
I mean, it makes sense.
And then they also, I didn't touch on this in my notes, but they also went on to believe that maybe this guy was the Zodiac because he's the only one. None of the other ciphers were cracked.
Well, the last 18 characters that are still technically unsolved,
right,
are believed to be a second cipher that actually comes out to this person's identity. So they're saying that these 18 characters that were unsolved is him signing his letter. His letter.
That's crazy. Like, what if his name's like really in there?
Yes, when you look at it, yeah.
Alfred E. Newman.
Hulk Hogan.
That's one of the people who's cracked part of one of the other ciphers, or that one. I'm not sure which one.
Oh, it's Arthur Lee Allen.
Well, part of the
Arthur
ciphers.
Lee Allen was the
part of the ciphers.
They're saying the what I've looked up that said this was basically saying that the cipher comes out to be his name.
But the Alfred E. Newman is the dude from Mad Magazine. They said it was a spoof.
Yes, again.
So go pee. I'll read this cipher. I'll take my jolly old time. So basically what the 408 cipher says when it's decrypted is, I like killing people because it's so much fun. It's more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. It's even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all the people I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow me down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife.
That's the cipher?
That's the cipher.
Minus the last 18 characters.
Right. I don't know, man. But that's basically what it comes down to. I mean, and I'm sure there are different variations, but that's the gist of it. And I still believe that those last 18 characters are him signing his name.
So you mentioned Arthur Lee Allen,
Mhm.
and in my research, I found that he was cleared by DNA. But he's a top suspect.
So
DNA cleared him.
Was OJ. I don't know. They never got definitive evidence the man died of a heart attack. So I mean, it's
Yeah, right. Well, some people claim that they were on to him, and I wish I would have written it down, but I didn't. And they said that one of the detectives went to his trailer and said, "Hey, you're on a case of Arthur Lee Allen, aren't you?" He says, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, I'm right here with him." He's like, "Yeah, well, you got something on him?" He's like, "Hey, he's fucking dead." And he collapsed in his fucking trailer and died.
Yep, heart attack.
But dude, I'm telling you, there is so many strange things in this case that your head's going to be fucking sideways by the time this is done. And
I don't know if it'll be sideways.
It'll be sideways. Not from this, but from you cracking your neck.
That's probably true.
So, we have him sending in the 408 cipher, and that's just like rambling nonsense, like with the slaves and shit. Okay, whatever. Up into the slaves and shit now. So what we have next is the Lake Berryessa murder. So on September 27th, 1969, college students Byron Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were hanging out enjoying the scenery. They were actually supposed to go to San Francisco on a trip, and they were late. We won't be able to make it back home in time to go into the city. I got shit I got to do. Let's just go to the lake and hang out. They had dated before, but were not romantically involved at this time. So I'm trying to paint a picture here because there's that, I think in the Zodiac movie, they show this, and it's really fucking creepy. And Brian Hartnell says that's pretty much exactly how it happened. He's like, I had no part in that movie, and that's what I remember. So Brian's laying on his back, looking towards the lake. Cecilia has her hands crossed under her chin, laying diagonal across Byron's chest. So she's looking up, away from the lake. She notices a man maybe 25 yards away.
They weren't romantically involved though.
Come on.
No, they specifically made that a point that like
it sounds like she just finished something up. That's what I'm saying.
I don't just cuddle with anybody. I'm just saying.
Maybe her hands were on his chest. She was slobbing the old knob.
I'm just saying, bro.
But
that's the biggest question.
Anywho,
sorry.
She notices a man. She notices a man 25 yards away, staring at them. But she tells Brian.
That's because she's going down on him. Like anybody's going to stop and look.
I close my eyes most of the time.
Camera. Oh boy. You guys all fuck
I get
me up
motion
now.
sickness. Sorry.
He's going to be throwing his microphone away in a second. I can't let this be all details.
Huh?
No,
I can't let this be all details.
Of course you can't. So she notices this guy staring at him, and she mentions it to Brian, but he thinks it's a picnicker.
What did she do? Her ball!
Huh? Yeah, okay. Sounds good. But the way the lake was set up, they were kind of like, almost like on a little island, and there was like a bit of water here in between.
Yeah, that's not romantic at all.
So he thinks it's across further away than because he's not looking. He thinks, it's no big deal. It's another person way further away. And so he doesn't get alarmed. Then all of a sudden, Cecilia says, "Oh my God, he's got a gun." So Brian gets up, turns around, and sees the man Cecilia was talking about walking briskly towards them, holding a gun. And now he's like 10 feet and
Don't point that finger at me.
10, 15 feet in front of him. Blow your head clean off, son.
Let her finish. Let her finish.
Brian gets up and wipes his mouth.
Jesus.
He's pointing a handgun at them. This man is wearing... Now, this is my description of seeing all the pictures. He's wearing a black hood, and it comes down to his mid-chest all the way across and back up. And he says like a dickie or an overlay. I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't know what a dickie or an overlay. But it almost looks like you took like half of your... Like if you cut off the hoodie at your tits, Michael... And it had no arms, and you had the hood on, and the hood almost looks square,
almost like a
brown paper bag,
like a welding hood.
Yeah, but all the pictures it's square, like a big brown paper bag painted black.
Maybe he's got a square head. He should be able to easily.
It's almost like an executioner type hood, not like a KKK type hood.
No,
more like executioner style. Then
he has clip-on sunglasses over top of it, and on the front of the hood was he does say either 3 or 4 inch white circle with a crosshairs going through the middle of it, and he said it wasn't painted on, it looked like it was done with great care. It looked like it was sewn on. And
embroidered, maybe?
Embroidered. It's a technical term. And I got ahead of myself, y'all.
Right now.
Told me to escape combat.
He did. So the con man says, I don't want to erase that. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. All I want is your money and your car. The man says to Brian that he killed a correctional officer while escaping prison and was trying to get to Mexico. The masked man pulls out 3-foot pre-cut lengths.
Oh, he said he killed a CO?
Yeah. Well, they say guard, but fuck, I say CO.
Yes. Fuck that.
We all know the terminology.
He didn't kill no CO.
But yeah, that was the guy from Montana, which I didn't even touch on. So, I didn't want to get off topic because you could. I mean, how do you formulate this? I can't go from here to here to here to here to here and make it make sense. So, the guy pulls out 3-foot pre-cut lengths of hollow plastic clothesline, according to Brian. He has Cecilia tie up Brian's hands, and then he ties up Cecilia's hands, ordering them both to the ground. The killer hog ties Brian and Cecilia. Brian complained that it was cold and it would be of an inconvenience to be left outside tied up all night long.
Okay, then, I'll shoot you then.
No, he asked him, he says, is that gun really loaded? He's like, I've heard in most cases that a guy doesn't want to go to prison if the gun's loaded. And he said the Zodiac pulled the clip out and it was full of bullets. Whether it was, he
pulled the clip or the magazine.
Oh, God, are you one of those fucking guys?
I'm just asking.
Whatever.
You told me you were one of those guys.
It was the magazine, I guess, I suppose.
10-4.
But he doesn't say if there was one in the pipe. He didn't rack it back and show him there was one. So the mag was full, whatever. And he says no sooner did he say that, he saw the corner of his eye, the dude whips out a big fucking foot-long knife and just rams it right into his back. And he stabs him, I think he says 6 or 7 times.
See, this is where I have a problem.
Okay.
First, he deviated from a .22 to a 9mm. Now he's deviating from a gun to a knife.
I've got an explanation for that.
I'm sure you do.
And we'll get to that.
Oh, I can wait?
You can wait, sir.
But our listeners want to know.
Well, you'll have to stay tuned. I'm trying to make this as riveting as possible. So, yeah, and you're right, Mike, because killers usually don't deviate from gun to knife to this to that. They usually use one thing and stick with that, what they know. So that has been proven.
Yeah, but... All right, now I'm going to let you give your... Because I have my own theory, too.
Well,
so.
I'm not saying...
What's your theory? Spit it.
Well, think about it. The gun was suspected to be a .45. Regardless, Anybody comes at you
On
with a
that murder, it
gun.
was supposed to be a 45?
It was suspected to be a 45.
That's what Brian said.
Okay.
Anybody that's coming at you with a gun, we all know how fast a bullet travels, right? So now my frame of mind is I better fucking stay still and do exactly what he says, or else he's going to shoot me and I'm going to die. Somebody comes at me with a knife, my first thought is I can disarm you. I don't need to do that. If this guy, we're gonna get into it, but he carved into a car with a knife the date and time, location, all this, this shit.
No, it wasn't with a knife. It was. He said it was pre-Sharpie. It was some kind of. It's weird. It wasn't car. It was with a marker.
Yeah, he wrote, but it was. But right. the whole idea was that it was by knife. It was made at the end of it that this crime was committed by knife. So if his intention was to kill these people with a knife, I'm going to subdue you with a gun, but I'm going to kill you with a knife. I can take somebody with a knife. I can't take somebody with a gun. That'd be my train of thought anyway.
I get that, but like if a killer, a serial killer, usually follows the same manner of death.
Yeah, I think Brian did say that. Oh God, I just lost my train of thought again.
Maybe it was in 1911. He didn't know how to shoot it.
Maybe they have one in the pipe.
What does that have to do with it?
I mean, if you're gonna show up in an executioner hood with a knife on your waist, I think his intention was to go there and stab somebody to death. Mm-hmm. Now they do say that one of the later victim or suspects was known to be he made his own hunting sheaths. They said the knife was over. Brian said the knife was over a foot long, and they were like, "Oh well, you don't usually get a sheath with that. This is going to be a custom-made sheath." And the fact that the leather work on his hood was so exquisite, it's just circumstantial evidence. That's all. It just kind of makes you wonder, like, this guy. I'll mention him later. Did this guy have something to do with that because of his background? So, as Brian says, he thinks that.
So Brian lived.
Brian lived,
okay.
Yeah.
Brian lived.
He thinks that, oh my God, he's like, he looked at Cecilia and he said that she was rolling around screaming as the killer was done with him and went over to her and started stabbing her. I think she was stabbed over 12 times. 10 times? He said he couldn't. He had to look away. He couldn't. He said, if I just sit here...
What a girl.
He said, if
she didn't get me off, I want to watch her slap her.
If he'd only waited 2 more minutes, I would have watched the whole thing.
And he said that if I just sat here and didn't move, he might think I'm dead. And then he goes on to say, now he's on, like, this was taped in the couple days afterwards, and he's like in the hospital bed. He's like, my goal was to save the girl, which is odd. Like, who says that? And if you look at him, he kind of fits like the fucking Zodiac profile with the rimmed horn glasses, and he's just the fucking all white people look the same, right?
It's true.
But anyways, he winds up stabbing the shit out of both of them. Then he's standing over top of them, like, marveling at his work. Yeah, and he said he could feel him. Brian said he could feel him standing over. And they were there for, I think it was hours. And Brian's screaming at boaters coming by, and they wouldn't pay any attention to him. And I think he said at one point, like, he untied Cecilia, and he asked her to untie him, and she couldn't. He passes out. Then he wakes up later, and somehow she had managed to untie one of his hands. So he unties the both of them, and he's screaming at a boat down in the water, and the guy shuts his engine off. He says, "Shut your whore mouth!" "Shut your whore mouth, you dumb redneck bastard." And then I guess the sheriffs responded probably like an hour later.
So what time of day was this?
This is in, well, it's depicted in the morning. I don't have the time here.
So it was a daylight murder.
Yeah, daylight. Yep. And both were rushed to the hospital. Cecilia succumbed to her wounds 2 days after, and Brian survived. So that makes that 1, 2, 3, 4 murders. 2 people survived. So 6 victims. Now, here is the last confirmed Zodiac killing. was the Paul Stein murder. And that's October 11th, 1969.
That's the taxi driver.
That's the taxi driver.
Okay.
Well, let me back up real quick and hit on what Katie just said. So, on the victim's door of their vehicle, on the passenger side door, the killer wrote the Zodiac symbol at the top, which was circled with the crosshairs going through it. Underneath of it, it said 12-20-68. And then underneath that, it's 7-4-69. And then underneath that, it said September 27th, 69-6:30 by night. So I guess, 6:30 in the afternoon?
Or 6:30 in the morning?
No, because they were running late to go to San Francisco. So if it was 6:30, they would have been in San Francisco. Because remember, I said that's what their original intention was. Like, you want to go into the city and hang out? Yeah. So they got a late start. It was like, well, I got shit to do. Let's just go to the lake. So it had to be 6:30 at night.
It was kind of like showing up without a GoPro.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. So fast forward. This is what 20. So maybe about 15, 20 days later, was the Paul Stein murder. Now this was hard for me to follow. There was a lot of shit that went down with this one, and it's just there's so many fuck ups and just weird happenings. But October 11th, 1969, a white male enters the cab of Paul Stein, requesting to be taken to Washington and Maple Street in the Presidio Heights of San Francisco. And I think the Presidio Heights is right. It's at the northern tip, like right where the Golden Gate Bridge is.
Yes, that's where the Presidio is.
Yeah, and it used to be an old military base as well.
Yeah, my father-in-law was stationed there at one point.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of history in New York.
Yeah.
Or New York.
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
You would know.
I would know, because I'm the San Francisco treat. But
you'd steal my thunder by saying it.
The passenger shot Stein once in the head with a 9mm, took his wallet and keys, and cut off a piece of his blood-stained shirt. The killer was seen by 3 teenagers across the street who called the police while the crime was in progress. They also observed the man wiping the cab down before heading towards the Presidio. Initially, the initial call that came in was a 5'10" black male suspect. San Francisco Police Department officers San Francisco police officers Armand Pellicetti and Frank Peda were close by and responded quickly. Officer Pellicetti parked his patrol car behind the yellow cab and herded the 3 teenagers away from the scene. He didn't know if the suspect was still there or not.
I saw an interview with Persetti.
Yeah?
On one of the shows I watched.
Yeah. So Pellicetti, I hope I'm saying that right.
Pellicetti.
Pellicetti,
I don't know.
Pellicetti approached the cab and could see Mr. Paul Stein slumped over into the passenger seat with blood all over the cab. Pellicetti retook the description of the suspect. That's when he was told that it was a white male. So after Officer Pellicetti quickly asked the kids a brief description of the suspect and which way he headed, they told him he walked off towards the Presidio. The Presidio.
Presidio.
It's a cool name. Presidio.
It is.
Pellicetti took off on foot.
Sounds like a spy thriller.
Well, it is a thriller. It's not a spy. Mystery thriller. Yeah.
I wonder if
anyway, this is a lot of fucking reading, man.
Time.
I hope it's not boring.
It is, but go ahead.
Oh, fuck you. You know what?
No, it's good. Because for a difference, we're 90% of the time we're listening to Mike's voice, so it's nice to hear somebody else who actually gave a fuck about something and did the research.
There's a lot of
bring it in.
Fucking.
I'm just letting you talk.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You did good. You did good research
I'm
in this.
I'm
like an idiot savant.
You are an idiot.
Okay, so after he asked the kids the description in which way the perp headed, he walked off towards the Presidio on foot. He happened upon an older white male walking his dog who had absolutely no blood on his clothes and asked him if he had seen anyone walking in the area. The man said no. Meanwhile, at the same time the initial call came in for a robbery and a 5'10" black male suspect, San Francisco Police Department officers Donald Falk and rookie Eric Zelms also responded. Officer Falk noticed a white male adult dressed in a derby. Again, with the fucking derby. I don't know what that means.
It's a hat.
Really?
Yes.
Oh. Or 3/4 waist length jacket. So when I think of that, I think of like a members only jacket with the waistband, like the.
If he was wearing a derby, it was probably more of a
like
sports
a Letterman.
coat.
Okay.
I don't know.
You wouldn't wear a derby.
I'm thinking of like a members only jacket.
You wouldn't wear a derby with that either.
No.
Derby's very formal.
Okay.
Now you know.
But so they Falk noticed a white male adult dressed in a derby or 3/4 waist length jacket, elastic on the waist and cuffs, with regular flat
elastic on the waist and cuffs. It sounds like a fucking Letterman jacket.
It does.
Right. With flat down collars. So it don't maybe like a bomber jacket.
I was just gonna say that sounds like a bomber to me.
Yeah.
Derby with a bomber. That dude has no fashion sense.
Goddamn Zodiac had no fashion sense whatsoever.
I just gotta throw people up and wear a derby and a Letterman bomber
No
jacket.
one suspect anything. None'll be the wiser. He was wearing rust-colored. Now this is taken from Officer Falk. This is his statement. He was wearing rust-colored pleated trousers, which were very unusual for the time. So, like corduroys? Or what? No, what the fuck are those?
Pleated.
The ones with the lines in them. Those corduroys?
Corduroy was something like that, yeah.
Well, no, those are jeans. What? No.
Pleated trousers are like formal pants.
No,
that would go with a derby.
What are the ones with like the 70s that had like the ribs on them?
Corduroy.
Okay. Corduroy!
All right. I thought corduroy was like a jean, like a thick blue jean.
No.
He had on low 3/4 length engineering boots, tan in color. So I don't know how you give this description when you're flying by the guy at fucking 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's really specific.
Right? But
that's a pleated trouser.
So that's what he said.
Right there. Katie.
I see it, Mike. I'm trying to let John go because we're not fact checking him in the middle of this fucking episode.
So seeing that it was a white male,
I beg to differ.
Seeing that it was a white male, Officer Falk did not stop him because the original report was a 5'10" NMA, and they used that terminology, Negro male adult. Should probably edit that out.
Negro
NWA,
white male. Is that like a? Is that like an iPad Samsung?
Dennis Rodman.
A black man with a white man's haircut.
So a 5 foot. So he never stopped the guy of this description with the fucking hat and the corduroys and the engineer boots.
They're not corduroys. They're pleated pants.
Because the original description was that of a black male. So Officer Falk blew past this guy. He turned the corner and ran into Officer Pelisetti. Falk asked Pelisetti if he had seen or knew any more info of the suspect. Pelisetti said he was looking for a white male suspect. Falk said, "Fuck, that was the suspect."
He said, "Fuck."
He said something like, "I used."
Oh, bud.
No, he said I used something like an expletive or it's not exactly. It's like some. But basically, I just put that in there.
I said, mother sucker.
That's what I would say. Fuck, that was him. According to Falk, he blew by the white suspect at 35 to 40 miles per hour, observing him for approximately 5 to 15 seconds. Being that he was white, he claims he never stopped and talked to the man. Officer Pelisetti claims that in subsequent conversation that Falk told him he did stop someone and asked him if he had seen anybody go by. The suspect said no. Officer Falk further wrote a report about that night, and Officer Pellicetti vehemently disputes that the report and what Falk told him were different. So, again, weird.
Yeah, but I think it's important to note that when he killed Paul Stein in the cab, he cut off a piece of his shirt.
He did.
Cut off a bloody piece of his shirt.
Yes. He cut off a bloody piece of his shirt and the tail of his shirt.
And he sent a piece of that with one of the letters?
He sent 3 pieces to 3 different letters. Hold on, it's there somewhere, Michael. Just wait. It's going to be another hour. What are we at now? I sense you're not having fun with this.
No, he's not having fun because he's not in control.
That's not true.
Listen, I'm just reading this.
I don't have to be
Once
in
I get through the minutia here, we can have fun with it. But this is the only way that I knew to
and sometimes
get you up to speed.
And you're not answering none of my fucking questions.
Well, the questions come later. Q&A, bro, is always after the fucking fact.
Yes, he's not wrong. I'm sitting here listening to him because I'm learning as I'm going through with this too. I've only ever seen the movie. I've never delved into what's actually going on here.
Honestly, I've never really delved into it either.
Trying to follow along.
I'm doing you all a favor here.
Not
this
really,
is fucking.
Actually, I think he is. I'll disagree with you here. I think he's done a very good job. Obviously, it's something he's passionate about. Just let him go.
I don't dispute that you're passionate. I just watched 6 hours of the History Channel and I'm sick of it.
Oh, I didn't even want to do this when I woke up this morning. I'm like, fuck this. I'm like, it was the same with Flat Earth. I'm like, I don't want anything else to do with this.
I'm
spent.
No, don't.
I'm fucking spent. Well, I got 10 pages left, so bear with me. All right.
We might have to cut to another episode. We're at 50 minutes.
All right. Well, let me finish up this page.
Finish this up, and then
we'll make it.
We'll do a discussion in the second half.
Right.
That was the last confirmed murder. So.
Yes, this was the last confirmed murder. So Falk apparently saw a man walking up the steps to a house, apparently hiding his head from him, as he said he was hiding his head low as to hide his face. And Falk, no, I've done that before.
No, I had to.
I think I've been chased into a fucking neighborhood and just make it look like you're walking up to somebody's steps and pretend like you live there to make it look like you
belong.
Yeah. Falk assumed the man must live there, not realizing he could have just walked up the random steps to fool the police. Falk never put that in his report. So, I don't know. There's a lot of weird shit. Did Falk fuck up? Did he feel guilty about it?
I think it's probably both.
Yeah.
You're omitting evidence now to take the heat off you.
Right.
This is a predominant case. It's important.
Yeah.
You fucked up, bro.
Yeah.
You got to feel bad if that was you.
I would too.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It was somebody's life.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. So on October 13th, let's see, when did the Paul Stein murder was October 11th.
Mm-hmm.
What year?
So 1969.
69.
Okay.
October 13th, 2 days later, 1969, Zodiac sent a letter along with a piece of Paul Stein's bloody shirt. Now, this is where I got confused because there's a lot of websites that'll give you different recounts. So I took...
But the one that I quoted in the beginning, that's supposedly the one that has the best information. It's the only one that the police will go to for...
Oh, yeah?
To find... You could actually go on there, you can see the letters.
Yeah.
High definition.
Yeah. I think a lot of this, the timelines are off. So there was a lot of erasing, and I started getting this part really started getting confusing and hard, but I think I did a good job with keeping it coherent. So 2 days after Paul Stein's murder, the Zodiac mailed a piece of his bloody shirt to the San Francisco Chronicle, taking credit for the murder. November 9th, 1969, the Chronicle received another letter from the Zodiac. This is referred to as the bus bomb letter, this time containing a piece of Paul Stein's shirt tail. It also included a threat of shooting kids on a school bus and, quote, just shoot out the front tire and pick off the little kiddies as they come bouncing out. Now, keep that word bouncing in the back of your head. That's going to be important later. What is This excerpt, 2 cups. Here's an excerpt from his.
What was the date on that?
October 9th, 1969.
Okay.
Is that right? I erased this, so I think it was. Well, I had it.
I'm looking at the Z13, which is April 20th, 70, and that mentions.
Well, he was done after 70. He was done.
I know, but he has two more letters after.
Yeah.
And that one confirms, or it included a diagram of a bomb designed to kill children on a school bus.
This is the bus bomb letter. That's what I'm talking about now.
That says April 20th, 1970.
No. October 14th, 69.
The Z13?
The one about...
See, I have November 9th. See, that's what I'm talking about. I have November 9th. You have almost a year later. And Katie, you have a month prior.
Well, I have...
October 14th was the bus bomb letter when he got Paul Stein's shirt tail.
Yeah.
The 8th was when he mailed the cryptogram, the first cryptogram, and the 9th is a 7-page letter.
Yeah. See, now I think this is where I got confused, because there's a lot of it. You're reporting on like 4 different websites. Like I had to erase this several times because the dates didn't match, and I didn't know how to, like, who do you believe?
Mm-hmm.
But this is okay. So we can generally believe around November 9th to maybe the next year.
But was that another cipher, or was that just a letter?
I don't know. I didn't finish reading it.
Oh, good.
I have here that the Chronicle received another letter from the Zodiac, this time containing a piece of Paul Stein's shirt tail. So before he sent in a piece of his bloody shirt, this time it was a piece of his shirt tail. It also included a threat of shooting kids on a school bus, just shoot out the tires and pick up the kiddies as they come bouncing out. And then, I don't know what the fuck, I have excerpt, it says, quote, now he did say this, and this was about the Presidio Heights murder of Paul Stein. 2 cops pulled a goof about 3 minutes after I left the cab. I was walking down the hill to the park when this cop car pulled up. One of them called me over and asked if I saw anyone acting suspicious or strange in the last 15 or 10 minutes. I said yes. There was this man running by wearing a gun, and the cops peeled rubber, went around the corner as I directed them. I disappeared into the park a block and a half away, never to be seen again. So
there's no cipher with that one.
I don't think so with that one. So then I have December 20th, 1969. The final piece of Paul Stein's shirt was mailed to Melvin Belly, a prominent lawyer at that time. So the Zodiac loved the limelight. He loved being like just that cat and mouse game, like confusion. I think that was another big thrill for him. It's just confusing the police and saying
the misdirection and
ha 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 ha, you'll never get me. So that's all I have. That's his 5 confirmed murders. And then now it went on further than that. Like he sent more ciphers. He had the bomb making thing of how it was going to blow up with a photocell. Like the bus crossed the beam, it would blow up, and this and that.
Why don't we stop there and pick that up again next week?
Okay. All right.
So,
hey,
hope you folks are all riveted.
Stew on that.
Holding on to the end of your seats.
Unlike our normal podcast, there was a lot of factual information here. And
well, as factual as it could be.
Well, a lot of what you said matched everything that I researched and saw.
You got the mic stamp of approval. Well done, sir.
You guys are killing me.
Well, it's like I said. There's the facts and there's conjectural evidence, but you're only going to get so much, and you have to kind of just take it with a grain of salt and put everything together as best as you can. But there's no doubt this shit fucking actually happened. The dates might be a little fucked up, or the details, slight minute details might be a little bit fucked up, but for the most part, I mean, it's pretty fucking gruesome.
It was more interesting than I thought it would be, because I thought I knew Zodiac, but I really didn't know anything until I started researching.
We haven't even cut into the more interesting parts of, when you start delving into the suspects. I think that's where it gets more interesting. Like, yes, you have the crimes that happen and a little bit of confusion. That's just one part of it, but like I said, stay tuned. You'll find out. Then you make your decision.
Tune in again next week
With a big strap on.
when we continue
About
with the
lasagna.
Zodiac Killer. So for this week,
Go fuck yourself.
well, or take on the world.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
I'm actually amazed that we're all friends. Mike, I will reach across this table and the whole entire world will hear me bitch slap
Do
you.
you have any duct
Not
tape?
punch you, slap.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.